Good evening to all dignitaries, special guests, delegates. With great joy and immense delight, it is an hour itself to honor this beautiful audience, and I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present here for this wonderful evening. So now I would like to invite today's chief guest, Sri Chandra Kumar Boji, request to come on dais and occupy the distinguished chair. And now it's my privilege to invite our guest of honor, Srimati Rita Chaudhary ji, Sahitya Academy awardee and ex-director National Book Trust, request to come on to dais and occupy the chair. And with equal pleasure, it's my privilege to invite our next guest of honor, Sri N.M. Singh ji, Joint Director CBI, Government of India, request to come on dais and occupy the chair. In addition, it's great honor to welcome our guest of honor, Sri Professor Kapil Kumar ji, Director, Center for Freedom Struggle and Diaspora Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, and request to come on dais and occupy this. And again, it's great honor to welcome our today's program convener, Sri Debojit ji, to come on stage and occupy the chair. Now I request to come on stage Srimati Khulna Sahani ji to give warm welcome and present a Manipuri traditional song to our chief guest, Sri Chandra Kumar Bose. And Sri Chandra Kumar Bose is a renowned social activist and grandnephew of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And again, I would like to request Subodip ji to come on stage and present. I would like to request Srimati Madhavi ji come on stage to give warm welcome and facilitate our guest of honor, Srimati Rita Chaudhary ji. Now we will have our traditional auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. And we all know that light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. So I request all dignitaries to come forward. And I request our program convener, Sri Debojit ji. Now, may I request all of you to stand for the Bande Mataram song by Srimati Khulna Sahani ji, Didi Madhavi ji, and her team.
Bande Mataram. Vande Mataram, Sujalam, Shubhalam, Malayasa Shitalam, Sasashamalam, Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Now I request Sri Subodip Roy, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, to welcome and gathering the few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Anandji. A very good evening to everyone who is here present today. On behalf of Purvottar Ayam of Delhi Prant, I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to today's lecture program, Saluting Freedom Fighters from the Northeast. We are fortunate to have in our midst a powerful battery of distinguished speakers today from the Northeast, as well as those who have been working with special focus on Northeast. It is the eve of the 73rd Independence Day, and it happens to be an opportune time for all of us to remember the great souls for whose supreme sacrifices most of us here have been fortunate to be born free and live and breathe in a free nation. As we all strive to take our great nation to its rightful place, it is essential that we remember that those great souls who have made it possible for this journey to begin in the first place, by making the ultimate sacrifices, their sacrifices continue to inspire us in our journey. The freedom struggle was a very much deep-seated, vociferous, and an all-encompassing movement all across the Northeast also, as it was throughout the rest of the country. I myself take pride in belonging to a family of freedom fighters. While Northeast has always been the boiling pot of diverse culture, languages, traditions, however, Northeast's resistance to the foreign invasion has a long and an illustrious history. We all know of the great general Lachit Borphukan, who successfully defeated the all-conquering Mughal army led under the Aurangzeb in the banks of Brahmaputra in the famous Battle of Saraighat that was way back in 1671 AD. This has ensured that Northeast has largely remained untouched by the influences of Mughal dominion. The Britishers has also faced armed resistance in almost every part of Northeast. Some of the famous ones being the Anglo-Khasi War of 1829-1833, the exploits of the great martyr U. Tirath Singh we have all heard of and read of, the Anglo-Manipuri War and the exploits of Bir Tikendrajit and Longthambu Thangal, and also the Anglo-Mizo battles for the control of the Luchai Hills and the heroics of Queen Ropuliani. We also remember with great pride the sacrifices of young martyrs like Kanaklata Barua and Kushal Kanwar during the Quit India movement, and the role played by Rani Gaindalu, Moje Riba and Pramod Chandra Banerjee in leading India's freedom struggle in various parts of the Northeast. The advance of Indian National Army under the leadership of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and the fierce battles of Imphal and Kohima in 1944, where thousands of INA soldiers were martyred for our beloved nation, is a glorious chapter in the history of freedom struggle of our country. However, much remains to be said about the great tales of courage and heroism and resistance of British rule in the most adverse circumstances. We sometimes find that contemporary history of India's freedom struggle, as it was written since 1947, may not have given a fair deal to Northeast's contribution. To take an example, even the first War of Independence is considered to have commenced and remained confined to North and Central India. But Northeast also has a glorious chapter in the First War of Independence. In the Brahmaputra Valley and also in parts of Assam, when the 34th Native Infantry at Chittagong revolted and their engagements with the Sylhet Light Infantry in plains and hills of South Assam. As we try to do this small bit for the reverence of the freedom fighters from Northeast, we have put a few photographs, as you will all see in the backdrop. However, they are symbolic of our humble thought and effort to salute each one of them, who are named, who are unnamed, who are sung, who are unsung. We salute each one of them, those who have been recognized and those who have not been so fortunate. For all of them and for every bit of their contribution, we are counting our blessings today. I'm sure we will be enlightened by the deliberations of the distinguished speaker in the panel, and I welcome you once again to today's program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable information. And now I would like to call our respected guest of honor, Sri N.M. Singhji, to say a few words on history and contributions of Northeast freedom fighters. Thank you.
Respected Chief Guest Sri Chandra Kumar Bose, Srimati Rita Chaudhary Ma'am, Professor Kapil Kumar, all the dignitaries on the dais, all the friends from Northeast, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege for me to have been invited here in this function to share the dais with the dignitaries here, and was given a chance to give my humble tribute to all freedom fighters. I am from Manipur, and once I represented Northeast in NCC in Republic Camp 1980. So, having studied Delhi at JNU, I used to share all feeling with the Northeast. Now, I never get any discrimination of being a Northeast. We are a very proud community in Northeast. our rich tradition. We are very strong. Many things can be learned from Northeast. We belong to an area where the begging is not known, and there is no slave system, and we are very proud of our own custom, and we used to fight war right from the beginning. If you recollect, China, we call it Khagi. There was a king called Khagi Gumba in Manipur. The Genghis Khan, the great Mongol, he could not conquer Manipur actually, he was defeated. And see, we grew up with the history of Lachit Borphukan, who, while fighting the Mongols, he didn't mind to sacrifice his own uncle because the nation is greater than the uncle. So we grow up with such proud moment. If on this occasion, if I don't mention the contribution by Manipuri women actually, and the Manipuri people, then I am making injustice. You must be saying, how Manipuri ladies, they are fighting against the drug and the use of alcohol. They used to fight against the British. When during the British rule started in 1891 in Manipur, they started crushing the Manipuri people like anything. You cannot walk on the road. And they used to call the Manipuri guys, Manipuri gentlemen, they should come to the kingdom, they should work like a slave. When it was called, it is the Manipuri women who fought because once the Manipuri people burned the residency houses of British, when they are crushed, the Manipuri women used to come and they fight, and the legacy still goes on there. So during this Indian War of Independence, the Japanese came up to Moirang, they fought there. So the lot of Manipuri, contribution is great. Even see Rani Gaidilyu, she was a young lady. She sacrificed her youth, for fighting for freedom against the British. And we read Kanak Lata, we are grown up with the history of these great people of Manipur. Lachit Borphukan, then Tirot Singh, the warrior of Khasi, I think he fought against the British. So with their legacy, we become a very proud community of the country. We are contributing in sports. You see the first Indian captain in Olympic is from Nagaland, Dr. Ao. And see, in any Indian national team, whether it is a football or hockey or any game, you will always find a Northeast people here. So we are a very proud people, and the legacy is because of our great leaders like Thangal General, Veer Tikendrajit, Rani Gaidilyu. During this Second World War, the Manipuri king had to be sent to Andaman prison actually there. So there are so many of them here. So I am really grateful to the organizer for giving me a chance to speak, to give a humble tribute to these great people here. Then I am not a historian. I am only, giving my feeling. But if you go to the War Museum in Nagaland and Imphal, the words are there. They say, when you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to request Khulna Sanis, please come on stage. And we have a special guest today in our auditorium. So she is Nita Ghosh, and please facilitate. So Nita Ghosh, she is a niece of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So please facilitate her. And now I would like to call our respected guest of honor, Sri Kapil Kumarji, to say a few words on contribution of North freedom fighters in freedom movement of India. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chandra Dada, Peter Banerjee, Singh Saab, colleague and friends. You see, for a professor to say something in a few words is very difficult. But still, one thing is very good that we are having such an occasion in Delhi. And I'll be raising some very vital points. And the first thing I want to raise is that why the students in Delhi, the people in Delhi, the people in this country, the students in this country don't know what Northeast is. What is the contribution of Northeast? What it contributed during the freedom struggle? Why this history of theirs, this glorious history of theirs, right from the ancient times, has been kept aside? The image carried out only was that Nagas are headhunters, there is militancy in the Northeast, they are ferocious people, they are some aliens, or at the most, some businessmen will go from here, cheat the people there, say there we will give you jobs, bring the girls and boys from here, put them in Chinese restaurant here, saying that this is Chinese restaurant, put before the Delhi audiences, these are Chinese, and then start calling the people of Northeast Chinky. One could have understood if these things were happening before 47. Because naturally the British policy was divide and rule. But was astonished to find that after 47, why was this policy adopted that we rule and through ruling we divide this country? Whether it is caste, whether it is region, as a historian I can say that throughout the freedom struggle, things which were unknown, things which never people bothered about it, were intentionally imposed on our society so that certain dynasties can rule this country and instead of establishing a democracy, what I call a feudocracy was established in this country. And if you start counting from Kashmir to down south, there were 20 families who ruled this country. Any of the states, whether it's center or whether it's states, and we see the remnants even today also. I remember an incident in 2002. I had gone to Aligarh Muslim University as a part of the UGC team. They have an advanced center of historical studies there. And we had gone to review it to give their more grants and what they were doing and all. And in the process, I asked them one question over there. Okay, you are an advanced center for medieval Indian history, but tell me that the history you teach, your syllabus structures, and the research you carry out here for medieval India, why is it only confined to Mughal and Sultanate? Was there no history of Northeast in this period? Was there no history of Western India in this period? Was there no history of down south in this period? So a very prominent professor who talk of human rights and all leftist ideology and all, she told me, no, you see, but Northeast never developed, it was marginalized and this and that. So I said, at least do a chapter on that why it was marginalized and why. But how can you ignore it? And how can you just say, without doing research, that it had not developed, it had marginalized this and that? You are a national department, government is paying you money, and then she tells me you are towing the RSS line. तो हमने कहा ये एक अच्छी चीज़ है कि आप नेशन की बात करो, आप उसका जवाब नहीं दे सकते, तो आपको हर चीज़ में वो हिंदुत्व और RSS जो है वो दिखाई देना शुरू हो जाए. I was recently in Tripura because since I should say more through 1998 when I was president for FedGuta, I toured practically all the universities there in the northeastern states, except for Manipur at that time. I was in touch with them. Very recently I was in Tripura 3 months back. And the amount of things you find of ancient India there, what have been excavated is the big Vishnu idols, the full temple structures. I went to the place, Uttakoti, what is its name? Unakoti, the big, Bas of Durga and all that time. The ancient text references to Kamrup, entire things. But you pick up any book written by R.S. Sharma or D.N. Jha or Romila Thapar or any one of these, who would mention even a word of the ancient Indian society in the Northeast. And then come to your medieval India. Show me a single textbook written by these great so-called historians of India which mention that the Mughals failed in Assam, which mentions that how the Mughals were beaten back and they were thrown out of Assam. Their Mughal chronicles have mentioned that. How the Assamese fought with them and how they were even afraid to go out in the morning. Because they would be trapped in those things. Beaten up, killed and all. But since the Mughals were defeated there, so how can these great historians from Aligarh mention that in the textbooks? Because for people like these, a king who massacred 40,000 people in Chittorgarh is great. But a Maharana Pratap who's fighting to save his kingdom, for his liberty, for his name you can't use the word Mahan before his word. Your Rajasthan government's things are the latest example of that. So we have to understand what is the psyche which was working behind this. I'm very sick of one thing. Whenever I hear someone saying, we have to bring the people into the mainstream. What the hell is mainstream? Every citizen of India, staying in any part of India, is an Indian citizen. And a mainstream is all of India. You can't say that this bogey which the Congress regime started, mainstream from Delhi, that it is only they are Delhi and they are only India and everyone has to toe their lines what they say and that is the mainstream. I asked Mr. Bhisham Narayan Singh once, who was a member of the press council at that time, and he had also remained so he would throw dinners for press council members. I said, sir, you have remained the governor of Assam. Tell me one thing. A governor does the same what the center wants the governor to do. He said, yes. So I said, then why your governments have been sending only, with due respect, sir, the retired army generals or the IPS officers or the intelligence officers only as governors in the North Indian states? What's the message you are going to give to the people over there? That you always want to rule them with the thumb of the army? Any governor who will go there will do what the center says. But what are you showcasing to them? And it is this psyche governed by our great Brown Sahibs. I use the word Brown Sahibs. You have many Brown Sahibs even today who are saying everything government is doing is wrong and they are depending on BBC and they are depending on Pakistan news and all that. Great elite intellectuals in this country. These Brown Sahibs backed by the leftist ideologies. Why don't we teach our students that any part in this country where the British wanted to expand, they were challenged. If there was a psyche of domination, if there was a psyche to rule, which I call the colonial psyche, there equally emerged a psyche of resistance, a psyche to fight out the British and let them name me a single region in this country, whether it was the Sannyasi Fakir rebellion of Bihar and Bengal during this period, from where came the Vande Mataram, whether it were the wars with the kings, whether it is Anglo-Sikh wars, Anglo-Karnataka wars, Anglo-Maratha wars, where they go down south, where is the Pologar rebellion, or name a single northeastern state which the British could capture without fighting. I have with me, I don't want to name all those, right from 20s, 1820s to later on and right up to that time, the kind of revolts, the kind of resistance which is given to the British in every northeastern state. Why isn't that taught to the people? Because those who dominated these historians, they don't believe in the concept of India. The colonial people, John Strachey and all, they started with that there is nothing like India. There is no country as India as we are looking for. And our great Karl Marx, who said India has no history. It's only history of invasions. And the question was who to rule over India, whether the Turk should rule, whether the Iranian should rule, or whether the British should rule. There's no difference between these two approaches of colonialism and Marxism. Because these Marxist historians never believe in nationalism. For them, nationalism is a bourgeois concept. For them, it is the dictatorship of the proletariat. They shout slogans and say they want to save democracy by shouting "Tukde Tukde" in JNU. But what they want to establish is the dictatorship of the proletariat. And these assumptions of these impacted the history writing in this country. If they talk of, they denounced India. I was sometime back in Hague. There was a conference of one Indian diaspora, and there was a renowned, very famous anthropologist of the world, Peter Vaughan, who read a paper on Indian and Chinese diaspora comparing the two, and made his opening statement and his keynote address that till 1947 India and till 1949 China were not nation states. And believe me, I got up. I said, I have not come here to be insulted traveling thousands of miles. And the chairman said, this is a keynote address, you can't question. I said, you are saying question? If he goes on with this theory, I will not let him speak. Because first he should understand what is India. Has he read Kautilya's Shastra? Has he read Mahabharata? What is he talking nonsense? And forget India, you will say I am a biased Indian. Has he read Confucius? The Chinese were doing their written exams for their bureaucracy even when this Western civilization was born, not born. You can't go on denouncing us like this, with this kind of nonsense. And if India was not there, what was Columbus doing like a madman? That he goes to America and calls it India. Why did you name your companies a Dutch East India Company or British East India, English East India Company or French East India Company and all? What were Fayan and all? Whenever they were coming here, they never say that they went to the kingdom of Magad or they went to Takshila, kingdom of Takshila or kingdom of Vijayanagar. They were always saying they were coming to India. And within India they were visiting these states. And to understand that federal principles of India, you cannot impose the principles of federalism of Europe to understand what India is. If German unification is to be talked upon by Bismarck, oh, the idea of Germany was always there, Bismarck unified Germany. The idea of Italy was always there. Garibaldi and Mazni unified Italy. And if it comes to India, India had no culture, India had nothing, India had no nation and all. It was all stupid. And this kind of mental enslavement which has been done of our younger generation, purposely after 47, has led to this kind of a crisis in the society. I said that you rule and you divide. I want to ask this question. Why all these, the details I am carrying here, right from you have talked of Rani Gadiyalua to or Manikram's contribution during 1857. How their trials are carried out, how they are hanged, what answers they are giving to the trial. What Manikram is saying कि हमारे सोना और आसाम को क्या कर दिया इन्होंने? The exploitation. Bipin Chandra will talk of, economic nationalism and all, not knowing that what these people were talking of economic nationalism much before the advent of historians like Bipin Chandra when they were challenging the British over there. Their names will not come. In how many books, except one line reference, that Colonel Shaukat Usmani put the flag in Moirang? Show me a single book of Indian history which says that how the Azad Hind Sarkar worked in those areas. People there know. Local historians there have written. But do you find it in any NCRT books? Anywhere in the syllabus structures here? That who were the people from Manipur who supported it? The full song of the cookies about that Japanese thing, freedom will come from the east, and when the INA marches over there. Luckily, what I have done recently when I built these 4 museums in Red Fort, when you will go to the 1857 museum, you will find a full room on Northeast in that. We are right from Peali, Barua to other places, to Manikram's trials, and the linkages between the East India Company soldiers and the your Dibrugarh and this Sibsagar area, the ousted home ruler, the meetings between them and all, what happened and all, I put them all there in the panels for the first time. If you will visit the Azadi Ke Diwane Museum, you will find panels on Tileshwari Barua over there. You will find panels on Rani Gadyalu over there. You will find that, what is that, Pathri Ghat massacre? Pathri Ghat massacre over there. You will find full panels on there. First time in Delhi, this kind of thing being demonstrated. And not only, I am not doing any favor to any region. 1857 was there right from Peshawar to Assam, Chittagong, near Tripura, and Belgaum in Karnataka, and Satara, and Maharashtra, and Panchmahal Hills in Gujarat. Similar letters circulated everywhere. It was a thing which was planned for 5 years by Nana Sahab under Dasa Baba. You won't find the name of Dasa Baba in any of the books. 125-year-old Dasa Baba. Nana Sahab touring everywhere. The letters, the chapati, the lotus. And our historians don't try to understand that. They call it only a Sipai mutiny. Followed that trap or discarded it. This was only a feudal revolt, and had it been successful, feudalism would have been there, so we don't study 1857 at all. Whereas each and every policy of the British in this country was based on the experiences British had in 1857. Criminal caste, criminal tribe, martial races, even the social orders. Overnight, communities which were not castes, Teli, Nai, Dhobi, Kumar, they were traditional communities, they were not castes. they are converted into lower castes, divided. And our great sociologists will not work to understand these aspects. Okay, what happened at that time? वो तो nationalism मानेंगे सिर्फ 1885 में nationalism आया हुआ है. If Maniram Diwan had fought, or earlier people in Assam had fought, or Tripura had fought, or down south had fought, that was not nationalism. जी वो तो अपनी अपनी kingdom के लिए लड़ रहे थे. So it is this psyche which has destroyed the national fabric. Jews against each against other. You know, it's very interesting. Till 1857, the British regiments were 1st Regiment, 2nd Regiment, 14th Infantry, 19th Infantry and all that. It is after 1857 that they started Jat Regiment, Punjab Regiment, Sikh Regiment, Mahar Regiment and all that. Divisions. We couldn't do after 47. Change it out. Not a single soldier of the Azad Hind Fauj was taken back in the Indian army. Pakistan took it. We didn't. On the contrary, the aim was to suppress this history, to suppress us down. But let me tell you, friends, you can suppress history, you can distort history, you can sidetrack history, but history cannot be killed. History speaks, maybe little late or little further. History speaks, and when history speaks, it speaks loud. And today in this country, history is speaking loud. With open challenge to these. अब ये दड़बे में घुस गए हैं सब. अपने मुंह से कहना नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन जब मैं इनको चैलेंज करता हूं, आइए सोर्स पे बात करिए, लॉजिक पे बात करिए, एविडेंस पे बात करिए, तो इनका जवाब होता है ये 2 कौड़ी का प्रोफेसर है, इसको प्रोफेसर किसने बना दिया? Instead of giving evidence, coming on logic, going on that certain things, we changed the discourse on Savarkar about totally recently. And when those evidences have been produced, they're nowhere. So my request is, this is a golden time for the government to correct these mistakes, correct these blunders. So, each and every region and each and every person in this country who has contributed for the nation, that has not to be acknowledged only, acclaimed only, but passed on to our younger generation. Another aspect I like to point out here, why is it that the regions of Northeast or Bundelkhand, central provinces, little bit UP, eastern UP, Bihar, they remained what we call underdeveloped. Because these were the regions who most vocally and forcefully challenged the British. And unfortunately, even after independence, why Bundelkhand remained so? Because the power was in the hands of Scindias in Madhya Pradesh. So how will the Scindias tolerate a region where the Rani of Jhansi had revolted and the people of that region had revolted against them and fought the country? Kanwar Singh in Bihar. And the local people, you see, all these kind of things which they do, the biggest damage done to this country and today's younger generation is, and I wish that song should be banned, कि दे दी हमें आजादी बिना खड़क बिना ढाल साबरमती के संत तूने कर दिया कमाल. हमें आजादी किसी ने दी नहीं, आजादी की भीख नहीं मांगी गई. लाखों लोगों ने बलिदान दिया है, जान दी है अपनी, परिवार के परिवार तबाह हुए हैं, गांव के गांव जले हैं, गांव के गांव तबाह हुए हैं इस आजादी के लिए। और यंगर जनरेशन को यह दे दिया गया कि आजादी सिर्फ आपको नॉन वायलेंस से मिली। अरे भाई, नॉन वायलेंस से मिली, जो पार्टीशन की वायलेंस है, कैन यू सेपरेट दैट वायलेंस ऑफ पार्टीशन फ्रॉम दैट पीरियड? And what is happening today, what we are facing today, is an outcome of that kind of things. It was Moirang, the flag which was put up in Moirang and Andamans, that had made the British shiver. I am seeing the military intelligence reports these days of 1946 to 48 period. And I am seeing every day the British Army is asking, taking reports, what is the impact of INA and nationalism among our units? Whether it is ordnance unit or whether it is their accounts unit or whether it is their supply units. And those reports are astonishing. And a report says that every Indian officer in the British Army worth his salt is a nationalist today. Jai Hind. The Indian soldiers starting saying their British officers Jai Hind. They were court-martialed for that. They were thrown out for service from that. And how many of you know that the Azad Hind Sangh was again created in India and formed in India, in Kanpur? At its branches, I came across an evidence very recently that 12 girls from Banaras Hindu University had formed the Rani Jhansi regiment again. And it is this history now which is going to speak. Recently that letter has been discovered. 31st December 1945, Wavell's letter to King, not even to the Prime Minister, where he says, we should compromise and reach an agreement, or else we will face an upheaval much more serious than 1942. And then the army chief's letter, Oyenbeck, what's his name? Oshenbeck, I pronounce Auchinleck. I have always pronounced these British names very my English, being a Hindi medium person. Auchinleck. He says that if we have to stay in India, we will have to conquer India again like 1857. And for this, I need 1 lakh European soldiers. And there is a full file in the archives how these soldiers are to be deputed in India. And it says that if we depute directly, there will be mass revolt, protest and all. So they are putting troops in India on the excuse of that they are in transit to Indonesia to fight over there, where the war is going on. I don't want to go into much of these details, but the role Imphal played. Recently I came across a document. R.S. Rawal, the editor of Azad Akhbar of IN in Bangkok, and Sundaram, along with another INA soldier, marched 300 miles on foot from Bangkok to Imphal because they thought Imphal is still liberated and our government is running there. And then they were arrested on 6 January 1946 in Imphal. R.S. Rawal and Sundaram. One of my requests is, because many of you senior people are there, in India we tend to lose a lot of history because we forget to record it. So please, any stories you have heard from your grandfathers, grandparents, grandmothers, Dadi, Aji, please jot them down. और प्लीज रिकॉर्ड देम. आजकल तो रिकॉर्ड करना भी बहुत आसान हो गया है. So that the real history of India is not lost. We are able to make something, a real history of India in this regard. And I will suggest that you must organize some lectures in the schools of Delhi. Not only Delhi, different parts of the country, some organization should come forward And let there be this thing that how the people from South participated or how here participated, the lectures are taking place in Eastern states, how Northeast India contributed, those lectures are taking place in these areas. So the younger generation knows more about each other. Okay, it is not that this person fought or only Gandhi Baba fought or only one dynasty fought for the freedom of India, but the whole people of India from all regions of India fought for this country, made this country, and now they are marching together again to make this country a world power. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Professor Kapil Kumarji. Now, I would like to call our respected chief guest, Sri Chandra Kumar Bose, to say brief details of Indian freedom fighter, special reference to Northeast. Thank you.
Good evening. After such an enlightening speech, there is very little that I can say, but as I have been invited as a chief guest, I have to perform my duty and say a few words. Distinguished panelists on the dais, Srimati Rita Chaudhary ji, Sahitya Academy awardee, ex-chairman of National Book Trust, you have very nicely explained the contribution of revolutionaries and freedom fighters of the Northeast. I think very few people in Delhi are aware of the immense contribution made by freedom fighters of the Northeast. It is time we evaluate the history correctly and put it in the textbooks of NCERT and Book Trust of India. Sri N.M. Singh ji, Joint Director of CBI. People normally get scared if they hear about CBI, but I must tell you that you come from the land of Manipur, and Manipur is the place which hoisted the tricolour on Indian soil for the first time after British rule. Professor Kapil Kumar Saab doesn't need any introduction. He is Director, Center of Freedom Struggle of IGNOU and responsible for the Netaji Museum at the Red Fort in Delhi. Mr. Shubhadeep Roy, advocate on record of Supreme Court of India. It was very nice of him to take the trouble of escorting me from the airport to here so that I don't run away somewhere else. Professor Sharadindu Mukherjee, nice of you to take time and come for this discussion. Members of the Bose family, Srimati Nita Ghosh, who happens to be the daughter of Dr. Sunil Chandra Bose, Netaji's elder brother, my cousins, Shucharita and Kostov, members of Purvattarayam, Delhi Prant RSS, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In brief, I would like to explain that we are assembled here to pay homage, respect and salute the people, the unsung heroes who contributed to our freedom struggle. Professor Kapil Kumar is present here, so I would like to raise an issue which has been raised many a time, but we have never really come to any solution. You see, on the 15th of August, 1947, political power was transferred by Great Britain to the Indian people. India became a dominion. Was that freedom? We need to explain. Historians of the present day need to analyze the headlines in the Statesman on the 16th of August 1947 stated 2 dominions were born. Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and the revolutionaries and freedom fighters of the Northeast fought for Purna Swaraj, fought for complete independence, fought for Akhand Bharat, fought for undivided, united India. The Congress leadership, I don't hesitate to mention this. The Congress leadership in 1947 betrayed the nation, betrayed the revolutionaries, betrayed the people who sacrificed their lives so that India could be free. They had no business to divide the nation on religious grounds. We created a jihadi state. The Congress leadership was responsible for creation of a jihadi state, Pakistan. Yes, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was responsible. He wanted Pakistan. But the Congress need not have agreed to divide the nation on religious grounds. Mahatma Gandhi opposed the partition of India initially, but he finally agreed to partition. Today, the Kashmir issue, we are trying to solve it now. The abrogation of Article 370, 35A, has been done after 72 long years. Why did we wait all this while? We fought for a nation which believed in equality for all. But that status we could not achieve. So today we need to understand that when did India actually attain freedom? Can anybody from the audience tell me, when was actual freedom of India, Independence Day of India? Not 15th of August 1947. 15th of August 1947 was Partition of India Day and not freedom. It was 14th of April 1944 when Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik of the Bahadur Brigade of the Azad Hind Fauj marched from Burma towards Imphal. You all remember that song. It is today the marching song of the Indian Army as well. Who composed that song? It was Ram Singh Thakure, a Gurkha. Kadam kadam badhaye ja, khushi ka geet gaye ja, ye zindagi hai qaum ki, ye qaum pe lutaye ja. With this song, 60,000 soldiers of the Azad Hind Fauj, and there were lot people from the northeast in the Azad Hind Fauj who marched towards Imphal. Do you know what happened in 1944? April 1944, they drove out the British from Manipur, from Moirang, and hoisted the national flag. For over 3 months, the Azad Hind government was in control of Moirang and half of Nagaland. This history has been obliterated from the textbooks of our current day history. My appeal to Kapil Kumar, that this movement must come from the historians. We are social activists. We cannot really write history, but we can certainly demand that true history must be written. So people like Kapil Kumar Saab has to come forward to write the correct history, to rectify the distortions in history. The battle for India's independence started way back in 1857 with the Sepoy uprising. We are all aware of that. Mangal Pandey's movement. Then there were revolutionaries like Khudiram Bose, Rajguru, Shahid Bhagat Singh, many others who did not hesitate to go to the gallows for India's freedom. But the final onslaught on British imperialism was none other than the battle of the Azad Hind Fauj at the Imphal border. These are not my words. These are words of Lord Clement Attlee. Who was Lord Clement Attlee? He was the British Prime Minister who signed the transfer of power document. I would relate quickly a story which has been documented. Most things are not documented. Court historians write what the administration and government in power would like them to write. But the time has come that we write the proper history. In 1956, Lord Clement Attlee had come to Calcutta and he was staying with the then governor, acting governor of Bengal, Justice Fani Bhushan Chakravarti. While sitting for dinner, Justice Chakravarti asked Lord Clement Attlee that what made you leave India? 1942 Quit India movement was over. It had no impact. So what made you leave India in 1947 in a hurry? Because after all, Great Britain won the Second World War. As you know, the Allied powers won the war. So there was no reason to leave India. Was it the Quit India movement or was it something else? Lord Attlee very clearly stated that the quit... See, I am not here to denigrate anyone. Mahatma Gandhi's contribution was there. Mahatma Gandhi converted an elite club, the Congress, into a mass movement. But Mahatma Gandhi had no impact on the freedom of our country, as told by British historians, as told by Lord Clement Attlee. So Attlee said that the Quit India movement had no impact at all. In fact, he said, I quote Lord Attlee, it had MINIMAL effect. It had minimal effect on freedom of your country. So then Justice Fani Bhushan Chakravarti, the acting governor of Bengal, asked him, then what made you leave India? Very clearly, Attlee said, the Indian National Army, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. These were the words of Lord Clement Attlee. And today, we stand here to show our respect and homage to the freedom fighters of Northeast, because it is the Northeast of India that has given India freedom on the 14th of April, 1944. Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik was instructed by the Supreme Commander of Azad Hind Fauj, Subhash Chandra Bose, that you march on to Delhi. Chalo Delhi slogan, jo Netaji ne diya tha. He was supposed to go to the Red Fort and hoist the flag. There are a number of reasons why that was not successful, but there is one other seminal reason which has been kept hidden. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Japanese surrender during the Second World War is all known to us. But the other reason, internal reason which is not known to many, do you know, instead of supporting the Azad Hind government and the Azad Hind Fauj, the Congress leadership in Delhi joined hands with the British to oppose Subhash Chandra Bose, to oppose the Azad Hind government, to drive out the Azad Hind Fauj from Indian soil. Azad Hind Fauj was the liberation army of India. How could the Congress, which fought for freedom for so many years, counter the Azad Hind Fauj, which gave India freedom? So these are historical facts which needs to be analyzed, documented, published in textbooks which are taught in schools and colleges. Now today, we have a government at the center, the NDA-2 government under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. I had the privilege of having a few discussions with the Honorable Prime Minister. And during the discussions, we agreed on one issue. No nation, we are advancing in many fields. We are sending spacecraft into space to moon, but no nation can prosper if it loses its thread of its history, heritage and culture. We cannot progress if we forget our roots. So therefore, the message I would like to give to the people of Northeast, to the people of Bharat, that time has come that we understand the Indian heritage. We understand the concept of being Bharatiya. Certainly religion is important, but in the Azad Hind Fauj, each and every person was a Bharatiya. Subhash Chandra Bose could establish each and every person as a Bharatiya. Where did he get this courage from? Netaji's spiritual guru was Swami Vivekananda. We need to understand the character building ideology of Swami Vivekananda, which Subhash Chandra Bose had implemented in his Azad Hind Fauj. Today we need 3 national icons. We need to follow them. The youth of India needs to follow them. Swami Vivekananda, Subhash Chandra Bose and Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee, who protected Bengal. Bengal would have gone to Pakistan. It would have gone as East Pakistan. But he was the man who ensured that West Bengal stays with India. He was a person who went to Kashmir. He in fact sacrificed his life going to Kashmir. What Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee wanted so many years back, we have been able to do it now. The abolition of Article 370. So friends, India has a great future. India cannot go wrong. But what we need to do is, we have achieved freedom, we have attained progress, we have done in scientific field, we have progressed a lot. In information technology, we have progressed a lot. But we have not been able to bring about harmony and peace. It is time that India attains a position where every citizen of India feels that we are Bharatiyas, we belong to this nation. I think this sense of belongingness, you see, I had the privilege of spending 5 years of my life in the northeastern states. I was based in Guwahati. I was that time with Tata Steel. I was the branch head of Tatas in Guwahati. I have traveled a lot. I had a Maruti Gypsy and I drove 150,000 kilometers in the northeast myself. Now I won't be able to drive so much. I have been to Zero. I have been across Arunachal Pradesh. I have driven from Imphal to Kohima alone in my Maruti Gypsy. I think very few people who are even hailing from Northeast may not dare to do that. So I have felt the pulse of the people there, how warm they are. But of course, I must also be fair. When they got to know that I hail from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's family, who they almost worshipped. In fact, I must say, in Arunachal Pradesh, near Itanagar, I was driving my car and I saw a small temple. There are temples, you stop by, you go there, you pray, and then you move on. It was on a hillock, a small hillock, and I stopped there just to take a little rest. When I went up there, do you know what I saw? I saw a photograph of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. They used to worship Netaji in that temple. So this is the kind of respect that people of northeastern states had. So maybe I was privileged that people used to welcome me wherever I went. There was insurgency problem. People used to say, don't dare to go at night. But I had no problem at all. I've driven around Northeast. What I feel, what I would like to state, once you give this feeling that the people of Northeast, they belong to us, they belong to Bharat, they are not alienated, they would be the best friends that you can have. I have got one of my best friends in the northeastern states of India. First of all, this phrase Northeast should not be used. You are Bharat. You are all Bharatiyas. Why do we say Northeastern, South India, North India? These expressions alienate people. We should not be regional in our attitude. Subhash Chandra Bose could unite all religions, caste and creed as Bharatiyas. In the Azad Hind Fauj, there were no Hindus, there were no Muslims, there were no Sikhs, there were no Christians. They were only Bharatiyas, and they were fighting for the freedom of their motherland. It is a fact that there were a lot of Muslim officers in the Azad Hind Fauj. Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik, Habibur Rahman, Abid Hassan, many others. They were fighting not for Pakistan. They were fighting for united India. They were fighting for undivided India. It is the Congress which divided the nation. Otherwise, we would not have created this jihadi state. Anyway, that is history. We cannot change history. But let us move on. Let us protect Bharat the way it stands today. And let us all establish ourselves as Bharatiyas. We have a bright future. I wish all of you happiness, peace and prosperity. And thank you, the organizers, for inviting me here to interact with you. You see, next time when we organize a seminar like this, it should be an interactive session. I don't believe in giving speeches and going away. It has no impact.
I was just asking that we can have a...
Yes, we should have an interactive session because we would like to know what the people of India, what the people of Northeast feel. Whether you are comfortable, whether you are in peace, whether you feel that the nation is progressing. So your views are more important than giving speeches. We have given you a historical perspective. But for the future of India, it is the people of India. You will have to tell us how we take India forward. With these words, thank you all of you. Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Jai Hind! Bharat Mata Ki! Bharat Mata Ki! Bharat Mata Ki! Namaste.
Sir, thank you very much for your valuable information. Now, and finally, it is a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. Now, I would like to call Sri Devojit Ji, Program Convener, to propose vote of thanks on this occasion, followed by National Anthem.
कक्ष में एकत्रित समूह माता बहनों को मेरा नमस्कार, भाई बंधुओं को मेरा नमस्कार, और मंच में आसीन सारे आमंत्रित डिग्निटरीज को भी मेरा हार्दिक धन्यवाद कि इन्होंने अपना कीमती समय हमारे लिए दिया। सबसे पहले मैं रीटा मैडम को धन्यवाद कहता हूं कि बहुत ही विविडली असम का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में उनका इन्होंने विवरण दिया, और एनएम सिंह साहब को भी मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं। इन्होंने भी बहुत रुचिपूर्वक पूर्वोत्तर की जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है उसका वर्णन हमें दिया। को प्रोफेसर कपिल कुमार सर को मैं बहुत दिल और जान से मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं। उनकी चंद लाइनें मेरे दिमाग में बिल्कुल बैठ गया है। इन्होंने कहा, यू कैन साइलेंस हिस्ट्री बट यू कैन नॉट किल हिस्ट्री, व्हेन हिस्ट्री स्पीक्स इट स्पीक्स लाउड। और भारत के इतिहास को अब एक सही अवलोकन मिल रहा है और बढ़ चढ़ के बोलेगी भारत की हिस्ट्री। और पूर्वोत्तर से जो आवाज आज तक बंद रखा गया था, पूर्वोत्तर का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन आज तक हमारे बीच पहुंचा नहीं था, पूर्वोत्तर आयाम दिल्ली से हमारा कोशिश ये था कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है आपके सामने लाऊं, और इसी छोटी प्रयास से आज हमने ये प्रोग्राम की प्रस्तुत की आपके सामने। और आज छुट्टी का दिन है, मैं समझता हूं कि दिल्ली के जितने भाई बंधु हैं, ये एक्सटेंडेड एक वैकेशन था। अंतिम पंक्ति में बैठा हुआ मेरा एडवोकेट दोस्त को भी मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूं कि इन्होंने अपना समय हमारे लिए दिए। आप सबको बहुत धन्यवाद देते हुए अगले अपने जितने भी कार्यक्रम होंगे उसमें आपका सहयोगिता कामना करके मैं अपना धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव आपके सामने रखा। धन्यवाद।
सब लोग खड़े हो जाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नेशनल एंथम। जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्रोहिण उच्चल बंगाल, विंध्य हिमाचल जमुना गंगा उचल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाए तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। धन्यवाद। की जय, भारत माता की जय। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।